Well, let me just say this. Just be very wary of alternative medicine and the extreme exaggerations that are in it sometimes, because that's where alternative medicine actually shoots itself in the foot, right? Now, I want to get into a little bit about the Bob Beck protocol. I know I've had some people going back and forth with me about, the same wrist method, if you put the two electrodes on the same wrist. And I know this video is probably not going to be for the average person unless they're familiar with some of this. But if you put the two blood electrification mic probes on the same wrist, you're going to get into the two arteries. It does not make some electromagnetic current. That's not how it's working. Bob Beck himself said that the electricity has to get in the blood. But I'm also going to point out there's something fairly fishy with this guy, big time. He's not telling us everything. He knows a hell of a lot more than what he told us. Far more, far more. I talked about the Lakhovsky device. If you're lost on this video, please review some of my other videos. And I'm going to state right now, I'm deliberately not making anywhere near the kind of money I could be making in lieu of I want to put out accurate information to the people. And I realize that only a small percentage of people are actually going to bite on this. The vast majority, forget it. Forget it. But with the Bob Beck device, that was good. It actually is good, the blood electrification device. But he flat out stated that in the early 90s he used to use the wrist-to-wrist method and ankle-to-ankle method. He did not have. He put it on the same wrist to avoid liabilities or possible problems where somebody would accuse him of causing a minor electrical contact current to go through the heart and cause the person to have a heart attack. It doesn't work that way. I use the wrist-to-wrist method all the time and ankle-to-ankle, and I've been doing it for years. That it doesn't. There's no problem with it. It's ridiculous. The amount of electricity going through there is so minor you can't even feel it, and it doesn't go anywhere near the heart, especially with the ankle-to-ankle method, which gets a lot of blood. In other words, you put it on the two ankles, each ankle, the electrode goes up the leg, and the electricity goes up the leg, down the other side. Now, people get into all kinds of conjecture and superstition about lots of things, and that's really what screws up the alternative medicine. I also want to quickly review something unrelated to this very quickly with alternative medicine. I talked about baking soda and molasses or maple syrup. Now, some people says, what about honey? Well, the whole point of the baking soda is to get it inside the cancer cell and make it blow up, like get it destroyed, like baking soda is a poisonous element to cancer, right? So you want it to eat something it likes. It likes glucose, which is molasses or the other stuff, the maple syrup. Does cancer like honey? I don't know. See, when you deviate from things like that, right there, who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? And besides, is it a cure-all? No. There's just been a lot of good reports about it. Beck's device, I'm going to get back to the blood electrification here real quick. Beck's device is very, very good. He said it did two big things, cured cancer and cured AIDS, and HIV-aids, whatever. That guy was flat out lying about that stuff. I don't know how many people probably zapped themselves while they died of cancer or AIDS. They're full of it. The guy was full of it. And I know AIDS is not all from HIV. It could be from drug use. It could be from, lack of nutrition. And there are a few people that are pretty much immune to it, or at least long-term survivors. But the most of the people will die eventually. And there's short-term survivors too. And there's a number of nutritional things. But I want to point out something that Bob Beck did not tell people about, because really, now that I'm really researching a lot harder, I actually ordered the information from, I guess it was Tony and Bruno wrote the book, very interesting. They found 3 Lakhovsky multi-wave oscillators. Now, the multi-wave oscillator supposedly will bring the frequencies of each cell in the body up to optimum frequency, thus helping, giving the body like a little boost to heal. Supposedly, touted to be. They were using this in medicine way back, and today it's fell out of favor. They got 3 machines, like an early type, a mid, one that was more newer, and one that's brand new that was still in a box. The 2 or the older ones were used extensively, especially I think in Italy. The device looks too complicated for me to put together, so I ordered a small one, which I don't think it's the same damn thing, for like $900 from It's from New Hampshire, amazing1.com. It's got a little Tesla coil in it, and I says, maybe this is something I ought to just experiment with, because if I use a really big Tesla coil, all the electronic equipment I have in here, it's probably going to get fried. So I says, maybe it's probably smarter I start small anyway. But I'm going to actually have some future videos on it, so if you want to stay tuned for that, I'll show you what that's about. Now, I looked at, in 1963, when Bob Beck found the Lakhovsky device, he actually did not tell in detail all these people what it was about. There was like this big revival in Lakhovsky after he found his device in a California hospital in the basement, and he was the only engineer that could put it together in a few hours where other people were confused. And he found out it really worked. It works on dogs, it works on plants, it works on people. But when you use it on a dog or a cat or a plant, they don't know what the hell they're being frequencied with, whatever you want to call it. And if they get better, it's not like psychosomatic where they made themselves better. They don't even know what the hell's going on. I mean, to me, that's the real proof. It's actually like the secret of life itself, right? So somehow he's got a complicated... Now, the device I got coming, it's not going to be anywhere near that, obviously, but I don't know what the hell, how good it is or how bad it is or what. So I'm going to take a look at it. We're going to do several videos on it in the future, and I'm not going to make any claims about it at all, but I'm just going to put it out there as a very interesting point. But it looks like the original Lakhovsky device, which I have plans for from the original people in Italy, it looks like that thing really did work. And it's a cool way it worked. It doesn't like kill viruses or bacteria or cancer cells. It just helps the body get stronger where it needs to be stronger. I mean, that's a cool method in my way of thinking. Why not overcome bad with good and conquer bad that way, right? So, but the thing is, Beck knew all about this, and actually, in 1963, when he found this device, he actually did not. A lot of people were trying to figure out what's all the details. What about pictures? What about specifications? A lot of people were trying to put together devices that were, like the Lakhovsky device, and he just wouldn't tell people what was going on. It was like kind of like a secret. And there's other people that came out with other models that are probably effective. And actually, Beck came out with other models that were he used a printed circuit board for one, instead of using hanging coils. But then the original device used hanging coils. If you bang the coil, like it would make a bell sound, it would actually find its own frequency. So it's probably a better design than even what Beck came up with. But the thing is, in 1986, I'm looking at what Beck's talking about, what he discovered almost 25 years before that in 1963. And he said that 99.9% of the devices he was tasked with evaluating in California were garbage, except the Lakhovsky device. And they would use it on dogs, cats, plants, and people. And it just was amazing how it worked. So ergo, you flip forward into the 90s when he comes up with this blood electrification. First off, in 1999, at one speech he was talking about on January 24th, 1999, he was saying that Royal Rife never cured anybody unless the device touched the skin. The electricity actually got into the blood itself. That obviously I know is a false statement, and obviously since he was very, very familiar with the Lakhovsky device, which didn't touch anybody, it actually put the waves through the air. That was how it worked. How the hell is he making statements like that? It's total conflict what he was saying for all the years before. And then, he said he was curing people in the CIA in secret. Really? If he was curing people, he was curing people. So, I got to tell you right now, many people have, see, this is where alternative medicine, they got these people out there that believe in Beck like it's Santa Claus or Jesus or something. I don't know, maybe for Jesus, I don't know. But, it's almost like a religious cult, and you can't tell them nothing. Nothing. But the fact is, this guy knew a hell of a lot more than he said. And I'll guarantee you, if you take a terminal cancer patient, you stick a blood zapper on him for 24 hours, or an AIDS patient for 24 hours a day or whatever, and you just zap them, zap them, zap them, zap them, I don't know if that's going to work. If it worked, obviously you'd be selling a hell of a lot more. I think it has seriously good benefits. But there's limits, and this guy hid from us the best stuff going. See, in the case with Lakhovsky's device, he had a 98% cure rate with terminal people. Terminal people that were hopeless. 98% cure rate. Holy shit. I mean, come on. That's a freaking hell of a device, ain't it? And he was reverse aging people. So I was like, wow. And you know, I looked up more because cancer is like really tough to figure out, because cancer, you got 50 million different types of cancer. AIDS, HIV, like you're saying, let's look at AIDS, what's HIV caused. Because there's AIDS caused by malnutrition, drugs, and all this other shit, because it's acquired immune deficiency syndrome. But then there's AIDS caused by HIV. But you know, if you look at people I looked at all these testimonies from people who zapped, and you know what? It didn't affect their viral load. And actually, with people, I saw two cases where people had drugs and they were using HIV suppressing drugs, and they got off of it to try to Beck zapper because of side effects from the drugs, and their viral load shot way up. In one case, it went to 300,000 something. In another case, it went to 200,000 something. So how the hell? And it didn't really. It dropped down to like 50 or 100 mid range. The freaking stupid thing didn't work. He's full of it. If he was curing people with CIA with that, he's lying. He was using something else. He was probably using, I don't know what he was using. I mean, he knew stuff. He knew like Royal Rife technology. I'm assuming he knew all kinds of shit. So actually, with this blood electrification, it's pretty good. But actually, the elixir of life is when you get into not just at the cellular level, but at the atomic level, and you bring in an extra electron at the atomic level, and that actually becomes where it's like negative energy in the body. Negative energy in the body repels all. See, the body actually is like more negative energy. It is negative energy, negatively charged energy. Parasites and disease and microbes that harm the body are positive energy, and they take away from the negative energy, and they lower the frequency of the cells. So if you could bring in negative energy, but you got to bring it in at an atomic level. That's not easy to do. You don't just do that by zapping the blood. That's actually by certain waves that get into the body deep. That's why the multi-wave oscillator worked. There's other things out there that I'm not going to discuss because the guy's alive today, and I don't want to get in trouble for saying anything about what he's, he might have done. But there's other stuff out there that's even more, that probably works along the same lines. And it's like you have to get that energy into things. Now, I want to discuss other things about conspiracies and stuff because I touted on Alex Jones. The guy is bullshit. All right? He's bullshit. He's heavily supported by all kinds of advertisers and all kinds of crap. The guy is disinformation. He's getting all you people riled up. He's going to create a revolution, and he's working with the bad guys, and that's all there is to it. Now, I'm going to say something else, because this is going to be unrelated to healing. It's going to be the absolute opposite. It's talking about defense of the person, of yourselves, and all of you worried words about the New World Order. You could take, I'm going to say this, you talk about spiritual energy and frequencies. I can tell you one thing. I don't know what the hell it is, but this is, I'm going to show a pistol here, okay, to give you a warning. This is a pistol, right? And I'm going to tell you one thing. I always think of my guns as golf clubs. I ain't into golf at all, right? When I aim this damn thing, it's like I put spiritual energy right into the round. I almost like pray something into it. I'm very, very good. Tell you the truth, I am. I'm pretty damn good. I haven't been shooting in a while, but I was extremely good. All right, and that's not bullshit. That's not bullshit. I got the some of the stuff probably still around it that proves it, but it's like people who are turning into worry words about the New World Order. remember, you know, if you have to defend your own life, and this is another subject actually probably shouldn't be included in this, if you have to defend your own life, remember, it's almost like you don't need the fanciest shit in the world to do it. You don't. It's like you got to have the power on your side. So it's good vibrations that do it. You can actually breathe spiritual energy into your weapon too. The same thing. Alex Jones is negative energy, bad. He's bad shit. And I'm not talking about the negative energy, that negative charge that's in your cell. I'm talking about he's bad vibrations all the way. He's about antagonizing, riling people up, instilling fear. And watch out, because alternative has loads of this stuff. And I've been finding out that Bob Beck, which is the subject of this video, is basically big time disinformation. But his earlier stuff, before he came, the blood electrification is good, all right? It's good, but not what he said it was. The ozonated water is pretty good. But actually, you want to do the rectal insufflation, probably more than that. I don't want to do that, but you know, that would actually be more powerful than the ozonated water. The colloidal silver is pretty good too. You know, the magnetic pulsar, pretty good. But it ain't what he said it is. He damn well knows, because he threw you a bone, you little doggies. He threw you a bone to deflect your attention away from the best stuff out there. Because if he didn't throw you that, you'd still be looking. You'd still be looking for answers. And you'd probably find the real answers. And it looks like Royal Rife, you know, he did some, you know, it looks like Lakhovsky's the biggest answer. Because, you know, if you think of something that could be like a cure-all, it's not really curing anything. It's actually just making the body stronger. It's almost like, you know, the common sense thing, like, how do you make a person get better? You give them good food, you give them fresh air, you try to give them, like, the correct amount of exercise, the correct amount of sunlight, and the body heals itself, right? Well, he's just adding, there's the frequencies that the body uses, and he's bringing up those frequencies up to snuff, where they got knocked down by the bad energy coming from the parasites. The parasites put out a different type of energy than the body does, and they basically negate each other. So it's almost like shorting out the cells. So he allows the cells to get back up to snuff, and it knocks out the parasite and kills that off. So in a way, that is a freaking cure-all. I mean, I don't know if it can work like that in theory. It does look like it works like that. And I do have a portable device to be coming here pretty soon, and I'm going to review it. So what you're going to get from me is unabashed, pure common sense. No bullshitting around. And I don't want people being worrywarts. You know, I always liked the gun stuff because I was in the Marine Corps, and I always considered it like my golf clubs. It's a fun sport. But people, like, you know, that are into all this alternative stuff, they're using it to silver, they're into, you know, weapons, survival, all kinds of shit. Do not worry too much. Do not worry too much. And you know what? Work with the governmental authorities, because 90% of those governmental authorities are out to help the people. It's some shit that's on the top that's keeping this crap down. They're very spiteful, and they don't want anybody else to have shit. That's really what it comes down to. You know, there's people like that. There's people like that. They're extremely spiteful. And, you know, it's like when Lakhovsky's device gets crushed, or when somebody's medical breakthroughs get crushed, it's not just about money. No, it's about spite. So, just want to give you a little common sense on this, because when people go overboard one way or the other, man, they just blow the whole deal. They make too many claims on alternative medicine. They discredit it. They discredit it. They get too worked up about crap that's going on, and you know, in normal political events. They basically, you know, they screw things up worse. So the thing is to have a chill demeanor and you know, just go with the flow, but also you know, fight back at the same time. Your own spiritual energy is going to overcome this bullshit more than anything. And you know, like I said, you don't need any fancy bang bang, you know, 50 million rounds coming out. As long as you have spiritual energy on your side, you'll hit the the bad parasites.